you will start changing when you're tired of your own BS. Yes. And I think I felt that really hard. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Viet Boss Babes podcast, a Vietnamese podcast for modern Viet women around the world to listen, learn, and thrive in their daily lives. I'm your host, Mia Nguyen. In this episode, I'm joined by Mai, a Viet Boss Babes, born and raised in Hanoi and currently living in Toronto. She grew up in Co Giay district in Hanoi. Fun fact about Mai is that she's very passionate about food, that she learned cake decoration and worked at a very famous bakery in Hanoi, Sisabon. And she's currently a business owner of Cotton Fleury, which offers handmade crochet flowers and accessories. Mai and I were actually roommates at the quarantine camp near Quang An back in July of 2020 during COVID. So we took the rescue flight back to Vietnam and stayed in this police training camp for 14 days. And that's how we met,
Yes.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
And today, so let's talk about pursuing side hustles, overthinking, and how to build a system to set yourself up for success. You'll learn some life principles about taking risks, practical tips to get you started on your side hustles. So as always, Viet Babes, keep bossing up and let's tune in. So now I'm gonna hand it over to Mai to start. Can you share a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Mai. I don't have an English name because luckily everyone here can pronounce Mai. I came to Canada in 2016 to study grade 12 in an international high school in Hamilton, which is like 1 hour away from Toronto.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I went to Ryerson University, which is also called Toronto Metropolitan University, major in hospitality and tourism management. I think my path was pretty straightforward. I think I'm that kind of try-hard student who always tries to get like highest scores in classes, get internships every summer, got like part-time jobs during school terms, joined student clubs, and then eventually I got a job offer 6 months before I graduated, a rotational program for an insurance company. So I just accepted it. It was also like the first ever job that I applied to. And then fast forward now, I've been in this role for over 2 years, working as an optimization analyst for Chubb Insurance of Canada.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's actually so impressive as an international student to secure a full-time job even before you graduated.
Yes, I think co-op helped me a lot because I already did my internship for brick brand companies like TD Bank or Marriott International. So when I applied for a full-time position after graduation, I already got a lot of experiences.
It's interesting that you learned hospitality, but you are now in insurance.
Yes, I know,
Yeah.
right?
And now you're also in start a creative business.
Yes, at the time, I didn't take any risk, and insurance was a very stable industry. And then with the COVID impact, hospitality, we didn't have many opportunities.
Yeah.
So I guess I chose that path because it's safer.
But it's still so impressive to graduate during COVID, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a little bit after.
Like a little bit after and
Yes.
land a job right away. And then, so how did you start Cotton Fleury? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yes, I think Cotton Fleury is over 6 months old now, pretty new. And then during my trip back to Vietnam last year, I connected with some old friends, and then I realized that all of them in Vietnam kind of like have a sort of side hustles.
Yeah.
They are all grinding, side hustling beside their 9 to 5.
Very entrepreneurial.
Yes. I have like my 2 best friends who have a phone case store in Vietnam. They started in high school and it's over 5 years now.
Wow.
Yep. And then another friend has like a Shopee store selling cups and mugs. So I'm like a little bit jealous, and I thought to myself, maybe I should start something.
It's time.
Yeah.
It's like it's a sign.
Yes.
The universe telling you that it's time to start something.
Yeah. My mom also pushes me a lot, and she's like, oh, all of your friends are very hardworking in Vietnam. Like, why are you in Canada chilling? So that's when I first have the thought of like starting to sell something. And then, do you use TikTok?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am on TikTok
Yeah.
with all the dance.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if your algorithm is the same as mine,
Yeah.
but I usually see like stories of how people in Vietnam started their own businesses during my trip. And then I saw a lot of like crochet flowers, and I realized it's not really a trend in Canada. So it would be cool to bring that to Canada. And flowers in Canada are very expensive. It's like $50 for a bouquet.
What?
Yeah.
That's so expensive.
Yes.
Okay.
For a bouquet. So I thought like with the same kind of like amount of money for crochet flowers, people can buy it as gift and they never die. So it could be a trend in here.
It'll last forever.
Yes.
Yeah. And it has more meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's handcrafted.
And I remember seeing your videos about how you started your art and craft, like, you know, kind of trying to get better at crocheting. And it was just so insane to see, like, you start with your pop-up stores and then you go to like the market. Yeah.
So I'm trying to
grow your own website.
Yes, I have a Shopify website as well. I'm interested to see like who inspired you to start like this podcast series. Like there's a Viet part in here, so I got inspired because of Vietnam and my friends in Vietnam. So who inspired you to start this?
I just wanted to start something and make it mine. And then eventually I kind of realized that, wait, like I really love storytelling. I've always wanted to be an author.
Yes.
And then I kind of was inspired by a lot of thoughtful conversations that I had with my mom and my sister. We always have this kitchen table talks.
Yes.
And it just felt so nice to have these thoughtful conversations. But then I also realized, wait, we don't have an outlet for Viet women as like a broadcast outlet to have these thoughtful conversations.
Yeah.
There's obviously like Vietcetera, Viet Success, but there's not really like a platform for Viet women. And so that's kind of what got me started.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my long story. But also I think the second motivation is at some point you just get tired of your own excuse. So I just got tired of putting it back, you know, pushing it back, like delaying it for whatever reason.
For sure.
I think it was Mel Robbins who I stumbled on one of her reels, and she kind of said like, you will start changing when you're tired of your own BS.
Yes.
And I think I felt that really hard.
Yeah.
I think that back in the days, like I really wanted to start different. I have like a couple of different ideas here and there. And then I never had the courage to start it on my own.
Yes.
And then I just started seeing other people starting that idea that I had.
Yeah.
And then I realized, wait, that was a good idea.
Yes.
And if anything, I was also very capable of starting that idea or executing on it.
Yep.
But then I never did. After I went home in February, visit my families, and I think I was also very similar to you. I was very inspired by the creativity and the hustling that people have. Is very inspiring. Like it's kind of like a contagious energy.
Yes.
And I think that's when I was like, screw it. Yeah. I'm done with my procrastination and the excuse that I tell myself that I'm not going to succeed. I'm just going to start it and then see what happens.
Yeah, we have to start somewhere.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Which actually leads us to theme number 1, which is you don't have to know everything to start. And I think that when I listen to your story, I see a lot of that.
Yes. I think definitely yes, because if you think that you have to know everything, then you can never start it, because nobody can ever know everything. So before I started this, I've never made like a website. I didn't really know how to crochet. Then I just like figure out everything like step by step to even like fasten it. I think we do have a really great resource in Vietnam. So I have a teacher in Vietnam, and then that like obviously the fee in Vietnam is like cheaper. So I think it's like more affordable for me to have that support system in Vietnam to start a business in Canada. And then if you don't know anything, you can just like Google these days or YouTube it. They have all like those kind of like instructions or like free education. So it's really easy to figure everything out by yourself. And you can use your connection like friends or family to ask them about like tips. A lot of our international students have successful parents who have businesses before. So I think your parents are also a great resource for you to ask for their tips and tricks in doing businesses.
Firstly, it's like so nice because you now have a connection with your home.
Yes.
Because you are supporting their business, supporting their economy by collaborating with them and bringing goods here,
Yes.
right? And then leaning into your community for that support is so key too. You can't make an excuse that you don't know certain things because
Yes.
there's no more gatekeeping in the internet. You can
Yeah.
search anything up on YouTube or
Yes.
TikTok, and
Yep.
and there's so many creators out there who also want other people to succeed. They just tell you exactly what to do.
Yes. I think the trend on social media these days is that the more authentic you are, the better. So on TikTok, a lot of creators, they don't gatekeep and they shows everything like the process, how they started their business, or like a day in my life. So I think those kind of content went viral pretty well because transparency is very important these days.
Yeah,
So
and reliability.
Yes.
So now that you're 6 months into you took the leap, right?
Yeah.
I took the leap. We're here now.
Yes.
With my little podcast and your business.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back into before you started, where do you think overthinking and fear of taking risks came from?
Yes, I'm not sure about for you, but for me, because we stay in Canada by ourselves, we don't really have the support system from our family. And a lot of time I'm afraid of, oh, I have to follow this path because I want to have like a permanent residence card. So I never like went out that comfort zone and then maybe like start a business because I have that kind of barrier in my mind where I'm like, I'm not even permanent in here. Like, how can I start a business or like register a business? Like, what kind of paperwork do I have to do?
Because you're not Canadian.
Yes.
Right? You're not a citizen.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Yeah. So if you think about it, we are literally foreigners in a country. We're not even like citizen in here. But I think those are just excuses. Because if you want to do it, then there's always like a way. So
Yeah.
I think that held me back a lot.
I feel the same way. I
Yeah.
think I was always putting back all these ideas or creative projects because I thought, oh, maybe I won't be able to stay because my paperwork doesn't work out. So maybe I should just wait until I get my permanent residence,
Yes.
right? But if anything, I think Canada does have one of the best like support system for immigrants. I find like Canada is also prioritizing like entrepreneurship. If anything, we are set up for success. I
Yes.
think it's just a lot of the fear in
Yeah.
our mind about being able to stay or just excuses we tell ourselves.
Yes. And I think another thing is about fear of failing. Yeah, the failures. I think a lot of us, like, what if we fail? What if we lose money? I think I got inspired from my mom, and then she encouraged me a lot throughout the process. And she said, like, what's the worst that can happen? To be honest, the first 2 or 3 months, I didn't have any single sales, but I keep posting content. And sometimes I really want to give up. But then my mom is like, what's there to fail? Like, you already have like the products. If you can't sell anything, then you can just give out for friends and family. So that's the worst that can happen to me. So I'm like, that's not even that big. I can just like give it to my friends or family. So there's nothing to lose here. So I can just keep going.
I feel like we are wired to fear the unknown. So then when there's an unknown like ahead of you, you kind of over exaggerate what the worst case scenario could be.
Yes.
And then I think over a year, I've also realized that the worst case scenario is you stop doing it, it doesn't work out, but then you gain a wealth of learning experience that you still come out winning.
Yeah.
You know, you're still coming out gaining something, even if you make $0. You're gonna learn about how to crochet and have a lot of gifts for yourself. I think the lessons, if anything, like people who are successful, I've learned that like the biggest lessons come from their failure stories.
Yes,
less
definitely.
from their success stories.
Yeah, you learn harder from
You
the
learn the
mistakes.
hard way as to like why didn't it succeed, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's like the worst case scenario mental model has been so key to me in starting this podcast too. The worst case scenario is that I have a nice portfolio of conversations that I had with my friends.
Yes.
I really want to get my mom on this podcast too eventually.
Yes.
I'll just have a lot of really fun reels. What's the worst case that could happen,
Yeah,
right?
and you connected like with more of your friends or like old connections along the way, because I know we haven't like talked for like a few months now.
Yeah.
And then thanks to this podcast, I think I would have a really interesting conversation with you today.
And I feel like it's a way, I find that the podcast is like a good way to have that intentional connection with your friends in different angles. So I have the other questions like, do you think that we need a passion to start your side hustles?
Can I say it's a passion of making money?
It's a passion.
Just
Financial
kidding.
freedom
Yes.
is a passion.
Yeah, but for sure, I think money is like one of the key part, like when you have your 9 to 5 and then you dream of like having your own business and you have like financial freedom and you can travel anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very fair passion to have.
Yeah, but okay, no more kidding. But to be honest, I don't think I can keep making content about the product that I'm not passionate about. So like in the root, you must find that it is something you're passionate about or you like it, because your audience they can feel it. Not specifically crochet, but I think I have the creative side where I like going to markets and then see the arts and craft. And then I also really into making social media content and just being creative in general. Like I learned how to wrap the bouquet in different styles.
I saw the stories. It's so nice.
Yes, and then I try to film like the process, everything. So just, I think definitely you would have like some sort of parts that link back to the things that you are doing.
The number of times that I start a project because the sole goal is I want to make more money has gotten me to failure. Because it's not just about like when you start, especially when you start a side hustle, it's a grind. It's so difficult. And you're gonna see no numbers, like no money. And you might not even make money at the end. After like a year, you know, hypothetically. When you know that these are arbitrary goals that maybe you might not be even reach it, you really have to go back to like the enjoyment in the process, right? Like
the process.
It's the process that matters, not the end goal.
You're right about the money part as well, because eventually I started for 6 months now, but it's kind of like break even. Like sometimes you make a little bit of profit, but then you break even. So it's not that noticeable, but I really enjoy the process.
You're enjoying the process and you're learning along the way. And I think that is the more valuable goals to set than like some arbitrary number. Because I find that it's like so unsustainable. So then following up on that is our theme number 2, which is how to set yourself up for success. Because I found that you can have so many goals, like the biggest goals possible, without proper systems and discipline in place. Like those goals don't matter. Right? Like you can't go anywhere. I've learned that the hard way too. I've like, I've had so many big dreams, but then because I never had the discipline to commit and to time block during my schedules, it fails because you're not actually doing anything or executing.
I think when you prioritize stuff, you'll be able to get things done, because I think we are all busy like having your full-time job, and then have like extracurricular. So currently I have to take French class for immigration purpose. So I've been taking classes like 3 times per week for 2 hours. And it's like a Vietnamese teacher. So we have online classes. So it's been crazy. So I definitely have to prioritize stuff and give up some of my my hobbies, like going spinning classes. So it's all about prioritizing and what is more important. So you allocate time for each of the tasks.
it's not about what you say yes to, but it's about what you say no to. I think that's a skill. What are the not to do's?
Yeah.
You can list out 20, 100 different to do lists, but what are the not to do's, right? Okay, if I'm gonna commit to creating a lively community for and platform for Vit women, I really have to start time blocking and saying no to distractions, things that don't serve that goal. For me, like I try to I'm a morning person. And for those who, like, if you know me, I'm a very morning person. Like,
what time you wake up?
Like 6.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And so I try to, during the work days, for example, like I try to wake up during like at 6, and that's like the best, like the peak time for me to get creative. So then I would start to work on Vit Boss Babes during those hours. But it's also about like just setting that like small feasible goals. Like I'll block out 30 minutes a day, just 30 minutes, and then you eventually incrementally increase to like an hour a day to get yourself into the discipline of working towards something.
And then you have to work smarter, not harder, because I think a lot of us are addicted to like scrolling.
Doom scrolling.
Yeah, I know that feeling is so bad. Like I really need to like put my phone away and then really focus on the task, because I think it happened a lot before when I start doing something, studying, and then it's just start scrolling, and it's like 30 minutes on phone. So it's crazy. You really need to block those kind of distractions as well.
Like being intentional about your time spent is such a skill. In the morning, I even set as like my monthly goal sometimes to like not start your day with your phone. You know, like when, because the first thing you wake up, you're like, I want to go through notifications. What did I miss? What time is it? So now I actually bought an alarm clock so that I can have an alarm clock to wake up to. And then I try my best. I'm not perfect, but I try my best to leave my phone like in the living room at night, so that you don't wake up to just doom scrolling.
Phone screen and stuff
through your day off. So I find that to be very helpful. I also find that just surrounding yourself with the right people is so important. Like you mentioned, like you have your mom who really encouraged you, right? Was she like the driving force towards Cotton Flurry?
I think so, yes. I'm very appreciative of my mom. She's a single mom, so I think she's like, I got that independent woman vibe from her a lot. Yes, and then I also talk to her a lot. I know that in the last podcast you mentioned something about surrounded your friends with like the circle of friends who got like very good influence for you. I really agree with that. But also at the same time, people often, like especially when you're far away from home and you don't really connect with your family, but I thought it's really important that you connect with your parents or your family in general. They can be inspiration for you as well, and somehow can lead you to like opportunities.
It's funny because when I first immigrated to Canada, I was trying to prove to my family that I don't need them. I was going down the route of I can be independent, I don't need support. And I think over time I definitely have to unlearn that. And I realized that there's nothing wrong with leaning into support system as long as they have room to give. I was also very inspired by my mom and dad. Like they both kind of started like from scratch, and now they have like a business for themselves. So especially my dad, like he's been prompting me like a little push now and there, like, oh, like maybe you can start something today. Like, just let me know like what. And he was a really big inspiration to get me started on some things. They don't know about the podcast yet, but
really?
Not yet. It's also because I want to include like Vietnamese subtitles and in my content so that it's accessible for them. I've also find like my current partner, like he's also very supportive on me just starting my podcast and then having friends just to give you like constructive feedback is also very helpful. Besides being there and telling you, oh, good job, you're doing great, like
Yes.
a little medal.
Yeah.
I also think that it's important to have people who can give you constructive feedback on
Yeah.
how to do better.
Yes, for sure.
So that you can grow from it.
Yeah. I definitely got like product ideas from my friends as well. So every time before I launch my products, I would give like the samples to my friends and like, what do you like better? And then I would do like a little mini survey. And then I also have some guy friends who like, why don't you do like Pikachu for your for your crochet mini
For your male audience.
yeah, for male audience as well. So little here and there they give like feedback. So friends are very good. Like if you're surrounded with like good friends and give you feedback.
Yeah, actually, the logo that I have for Viet Boss Babes was
Yeah.
done by my friend Annie. She's a Viet Boss Babes
Yes.
in New York,
Oh.
and she really helped me get this project off the ground too. Like she provided me with a lot of feedback, helped me with the visuals of the logo,
Yeah.
and the aesthetics overall. It's the other thing that she like really gave me feedback on was, and I also realized this is like a subconscious Asian woman thing, which
Yes.
is that we don't celebrate ourselves enough. I remember when I first recorded my welcome trailer, kind of just was very static in my script
Yeah.
because I wasn't focusing on myself. I was focusing on what this podcast should offer.
Yes.
And then she really gave me feedback like, no, like you need to celebrate yourself or
Yes.
putting yourself out there, share to the world about your narrative, why you started this. And I think that's how the audience can connect with you even more. Because let's also talk about like financial planning for
Yeah.
this. Starting a side hustles is like you need planning.
Yeah.
You know, I think like this is like a practical thing that motivational videos don't talk about.
Yes.
Yeah, they're like, just do it. And then like this whole concept about risking your entire safety net on a big idea.
Yes.
I personally do not resonate with that, especially as immigrant. Having a balanced risk portfolio is important and planning for finance is important. What do you think?
Yeah, I think definitely you need to be stable first.
Yeah.
Maybe that's for me because I'm lower tier on like the risk taking side. So I need to make sure that I have a full-time job which can pay my bill, and then I already have like some sort of saving. And then also a safety net of like 6 to 18 months. If I don't have a job, then I still have a fund to like pay my bills or just make sure I have food on my table.
Yeah.
So I think with Cotton Flurry is crochet, so it's like buying yarn, so it's not like very expensive items. So I try to start small first, using my savings, and then eventually I do have some bigger ideas about more like brick and mortar restaurants or like coffee shops where you need maybe like investment or just like bigger savings. So I want to start somewhere first, so I chose something that is more suitable for the fund that I already have.
Even with starting a podcast, it doesn't cost a lot to start.
Yeah.
But you know, the time, the creativity that comes in into place. Even like right now, like I'm a one-woman show, so then I do a lot of edits on my own.
Yeah.
But eventually, like that cost needs to come into place to scale.
Yes.
Actually, a Vietnamese founder, he used to advise me that you need a minimum of like 18 months of safety net. You want to go like 100% into an idea.
Yes.
Then I think that it's important to have that financial runway so that you don't feel like you're cash trapped.
And then that saving is also very important. If I have to pay for like a brick and mortar store fee, but then I haven't really made money yet, then where do I have that kind of source of money? So I would have to pull from my saving and invest for the future.
Actually sitting down, doing that math ahead of time is like very important too. Speaking of stores, I know that you mentioned that you are about to sign with a store collab.
Yes, yeah, I'm very excited because I've been struggling with like my Shopify online sales. So, and I noticed that people oftentimes when they buy flower bouquet or like crochet items, they prefer to buy it in person where they can touch, feel the product. I did really well in markets, like local arts and craft. So I thought like it would be nice to have a physical location. So I live very close to the Well, a very new mall, and they have Accent and Co, where it's like a gift shop of like different vendors. So I'm just about to sign a contract with them to have my product in there.
So, and then when can we start buying from Accent and Co?
Oh, I think around July.
So
July of this year.
exciting. What is your favorite product that you made?
I would say it's the Mini Roses bouquet. It's also my best sellers. So during Valentine's, I came up with like a collection of like 3 different bouquet styles. And then interestingly, like I didn't do a lot of like mini rose bouquet, but a lot of guys, they order that for their girlfriends. So I'm like, interesting how like guys' tastes are like the same. But I agree that is the best bouquet for that collection.
Yeah.
So they do have taste.
I also like the idea of you can build your own bouquet.
Yeah, when they have the customization and you can choose whatever they want there.
So thank you so much again, Mai, for today. This was so lovely. And before we wrap up, we have a little bit of Vietnamese outro. And if you are curious as to her answers, you can find it in the description of this podcast, or I'll post it on Instagram as well. But so here it goes. So trước khi kết lại cuộc trò chuyện hôm nay thì mình sẽ đến với màn thả phanh. So basically chị sẽ đặt 3 câu hỏi chớp nhoáng và Mai sẽ phải đưa ra câu trả lời nhanh nhất có thể và không được lưỡng lự, không được chần chừ nhá.
Yeah.
Ok, Mai đã sẵn sàng.
Tiếng Việt
chưa?
hay tiếng Anh ạ?
Tiếng Anh. À tiếng Việt.
Tiếng Việt, ok.
Tiếng Việt nhá.
Vâng. Đổi
Ok.
mốt.
Mai sẵn sàng chưa?
Rồi ạ.
Ok. Rồi, dễ rồi, câu hỏi dễ thôi. Nếu phải chọn một món ăn Việt Nam duy nhất để ăn tới cuối đời thì Mai sẽ chọn món gì?
Em chọn bún thang Hà Nội.
Bún thang Hà Nội.
Vâng.
Có một cái tiệm nào là ngon nhất?
Là bà ngoại em nấu ạ.
À, ok, ok.
Vâng, đấy
bà
là
ngoại
món tủ
nấu.
của bà ngoại em.
Món tủ của bà ngoại, ok.
Vâng.
Đến câu hỏi tiếp theo. Tưởng tượng như Mai đang viết dở một cuốn tự truyện về bản thân thì chương sách hiện tại nó sẽ tên là gì và vì sao?
Đó sẽ là You Can Do It.
Bạn có thể làm được.
Vâng, bạn có thể làm được. Tại vì em nghĩ là em đang tầm giữa in my 20s, so like 25 tuổi. Thì em đang trải nghiệm rất là nhiều thứ khác nhau. Và rất là nhiều lần là em muốn bỏ cuộc. Và mỗi lần như vậy là em sẽ phải là bạn có thể làm được.
Bạn có thể làm được. Giống như kiểu phim Hàn Quốc ấy, hay chi. Và câu hỏi cuối cùng là mong ước của Mai về Cotton Flurry là gì?
Em muốn là không chỉ là về hoa len mà Cotton Flurry có thể là một cái cửa hàng bán quà lưu niệm và quà tặng cho mọi người. Và khi mà mọi người muốn mua một món quà thật là ý nghĩa, đồ thủ công thì có thể nghĩ tới là Cotton Flurry.
Cotton Flurry.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you, Mia, for inviting me. It's my first podcast.
Oh my gosh, as a business owner.
Yeah, to share my stories.
Yeah. And then, so how can the audience support your business?
Yes, so I still want to grow my online business for my Shopify. So if you can place an online order on cottonflurry.com, then I really appreciate it. Or you can visit me in local markets or Accent & Co. In the future.
That's so in July.
Yes.
So I've also included her information in the episode's description. And to the audience, if you like this podcast, please support Viet Boss Babes growing community by following us on Instagram or YouTube. If you have any ideas or feedback, also follow us on Instagram and YouTube. And we would love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in to Viet Boss Babes. I'll see you soon.
Bye.